So, Assalamu alaikum folks. उम्मीद है आप सब खैरियत से होंगे. So today we are starting a very special, I won't say a podcast, but a way to connect to different people who have flown away from Pakistan and been to different countries. We will start off with UK, Australia, and some other countries as well, and we will also connect with people who are in Pakistan right now. So that job ka kya scene hai, how to grow in these countries or specifically in Pakistan as well. So stay tuned. That all is coming up. But today we have our very own and very first guest, Dr. Shahid Ansari, and we will talk about different ways of coming to UK and how we can actually integrate better there. What are different type of visas? अगर आप शादी करके आ रहे हैं तो what are the ways to bring your spouse as well? Um, if you have a kid there, तो वो प्रोसेस सारा का चलता है. तो पूरी पॉडकास्ट को ज़रूर देखिए if you want to learn a lot about moving to UK itself. And if you're talking or looking for something specific, I will also put in the different chapters. So आप chapters पे जाके देख सकते हैं if any specific information that you would like to have. So Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today, as mentioned, is a very special, very first vlog that we are making around discussing कि immigration का क्या सीन है और आप लोग यूपी में कैसे आ सकते हैं. And please meet Dr. Shuja Shahid Ansari. Introduction from my side would be we know each other for a very, very long time, and he has done his PhD from UK, mashallah, and then he's settled very well. He also got married and had a kid over there as well. So we will talk about all those things. But before we go into that, I will refer him as Ansari because that is what we are used to. So Ansari, over to you. Your introduction.
Thank you, Sati. अगर मैं Ansari कह रहा तो I'll call you Sadi. I'm obliged to follow. So, known Sadi for years, probably more than a decade. Yes, more than a decade now. So, a bit of an introduction of mine. I'm a lecturer, an assistant professor at University of Glasgow within their School of Engineering. So I do a bit of teaching, but the track I'm on is 70% research and 30% teaching. So majority of my work is around research in telecommunications, in wireless communications, in Internet of Things, in wireless for healthcare, looking at some vertical use cases of 5G and 6G soon enough. So how I ended up here is, it's a mix of hard work, focus, and luck as well. I would say there was, being somewhere at the right time goes a long way. So if I start from the very beginning, me and Sadi, we were together in undergrad. We did our bachelor's in electrical engineering with specialization in telecoms from Comsats University, Islamabad. So those were the golden years of our life. 4 years at Saad. तो ये हमारी डिग्री खत्म होती है 2013 के जून में खत्म हुई हमारी डिग्री. So summer vacation शुरू हो गई. This was the time when everyone was looking for a job. Everyone was applying for some of our folks, some of our class fellows were applying for masters. Some were looking for jobs. Majority were looking for job, and so was I. So I end up at Mobilink, their quality of service department, and it was going well. But then I wanted to move out after 3 months, and then I started looking for some more serious jobs because in quality of service, you're just making sure whatever the engineers have done is up to mark. I wanted to be the engineer who does the physical practical work. So I applied, at Huawei. I applied at Neatel. Alhamdulillah, got offers there as well. But at this time, we are in November. We are around October, November of 2013. यहाँ पे थोड़ी सी लक काम आती है कि I have a brother who's living in UK, in Glasgow. He's settled. He's a doctor. And long story short, I started applying for masters. I applied in Germany. जर्मनी में 2 यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं जहाँ मेरा एडमिशन हो गया. एक wasn't free, one of them was the free ones in Paderborn. but then, when I was applying, my brother calls me one day and he's like, "Shurja, I'm in UK. Why don't you apply in UK for your masters?" I'm like, it's same kind of money for us, because Germany जा रहे हैं, so you have to deposit somewhat, at that point was somewhat around 8,000 euros. Or UK जा रहा हूँ, तो I have to pay the fees, which was around 9,000 pounds. Accommodation Germany में was somewhat around उस time, somewhat around 200-300 euros. UK में accommodation was free for me because my brother was living in the same city. So, थोड़ा सा भाई की तरफ से पुश था, फैमिली की तरफ से पुश था, so I opted for UK. So
Okay,
UK,
nice.
I got admission in Masters MSc in Telecommunications Engineering in a university in Glasgow called Glasgow Caledonian University. So my classes were starting from 20th of January. So actually not 20th, they're starting from 28th of January. So I get to Glasgow on 20th of January 2014, and this is the start of my journey in the United Kingdom.
Nice, very
Um,
nice. And I know Glasgow is also a very beautiful place. तो बड़ा अच्छा मजे का सीन है वहाँ पे. And by the way, I think लोग सोच रहे होंगे कि यार अभी how are you और उसका हमने इंट्रोडक्शन नहीं किया क्योंकि मैं ऑलरेडी कर चुका हूँ. तो हम रिकॉर्डिंग हमने उसके बाद स्टार्ट किया है, तो I have already asked Saad साहब कि कैसे हैं आप. And I know we had a list of questions we wanted to go through, but while talking to you, there are more questions that are coming up, right? I would like to just make it very casual and go in that direction. Um, I think my first question that came to my mind is that does GPA matter? I think एक बहुत बड़ा सवाल है, जो कि बहुत से मेरे जैसे जो नकम्मे स्टूडेंट है वो खास तौर पे पूछते हैं इनका जो टू के अंदर कहीं जीपीए होता है. So what have been your experience? And I know you have different people coming in your PhD where you supervise them, right? So how do you think which kind of people and what's band of GPA actually matter for PhD and for job and overall market?
well, GPA, in my opinion, GPA does matter. But why does it matter is because the higher the GPA you've gotten, and provided that your education system is rock solid and it's reflecting what you're learning, then higher GPA means that your theoretical concepts are clear. Higher GPA means, to me, it means that you're clear on the path you've chosen. So engineering, personal experience, my GPA wasn't the best until I was in fifth semester. So पहले 2 साल engineering I was struggling. Yes, I was severely struggling. My CGPA wasn't above 2.5. So it was sixth semester when I really started to understand and grasp the engineering concepts. So, and one thing they tell you, and they kept telling me as well throughout engineering, was कि शुरू से ही ना अपना CGPA maintain रखना, क्योंकि आगे जाके उसको ऊपर लेकर आना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है. 100% I agree to that. Been there, done that. पहले 2 साल my CGPA wasn't good. The next 2 years, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth semester, my CGPA was above 3.5. But because the first 2 years weren't good enough, my overall, CGPA at the end of my degree was about 2.9. So I was, उस पॉइंट पे भी मुझे काफी लोगों ने कहा कि शुजा एक सेमेस्टर रिपीट कर लो, एक साल रिपीट कर लो, एक्स्ट्रा लगा लो 9th semester, CGPA 3 से ऊपर ले आओ. But I had it. I'm like, नहीं, I've understood the concepts that I came in for. I was always an avid telecoms engineer. I would say engineering start करने से पहले ही मेरा mind था कि telecoms ही करना है. Reason being कि right after my FSC, I did an internship at UFON, and I was the youngest intern at UFON. Thanks to those engineers who helped me understand GSM at that point. 2G क्या है, 3G क्या होगा. तो वो सारे concepts थे. तो I was at the end of my degree, I was quite clear कि okay, I want to pursue telecommunications. और telecommunications के concept clear है. Let's see if it's meant to be, I'll get an admission in masters and I can improve myself in masters. And alhamdulillah, masters was in telecommunications, and got a distinction, highest marks in the class, and all because concepts were clear. So CGPA, I think C should stand for concepts. rather than cumulative.
True. And थोड़ी देर के लिए मुझे लगा when you said कि internship in UFON, I thought thanks to some reference in there, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में reference के बगैर तो कुछ मिलता ही नहीं है. But that's good. And it's also a good message that you're sending out कि यार अगर 3 GPA से कम है, doesn't mean that you cannot achieve things that you have achieved right now. माशाल्लाह you're a PhD. तो वो अच्छा सीन है.
देखो एक चीज मैं कहूंगा यहाँ पे ना यूके में दे जस्ट डोंट लुक एट योर सीजीपीए, they look at other stuff as well. You have to write in a personal statement, and in that personal statement you need to reflect your motivation, what really inspires you. So CGPA, don't worry if you don't have a good CGPA. If you really are keen on pursuing that particular degree, you need to show that keenness on your in your personal statement.
और डिड आई हेयर इट राइट कि पाकिस्तान में इंजीनियरिंग की अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी थोड़ी कम है, बिकॉज व्हेन यू वर लुकिंग फॉर, व्हेन यू सपोर्टिंग इंजीनियर्स, यू वर लाइक यार आई वांट टू बी इंजीनियर माय सेल्फ, बट didn't you find an opportunity that would excite you to stay in Pakistan itself?
मिक्स था दो तीन चीजों का. नंबर वन, उस टाइम काफी सैचुरेशन थी. दिस इज 2013 वी टॉकिंग अबाउट. काफी टेलीकॉम इंजीनियर्स, ऑलमोस्ट हर यूनिवर्सिटी टेलीकॉम इंजीनियर्स ग्रेजुएट करी थी. साथ ही यू आर वेरी वेल अवेयर कि हमारे साथ के लोग जो टेलीकॉम जिन्होंने पढ़ी है, they've ended up in different fields. Some of them are teaching, some of them are in power sector, some of them are went to water side, and it's because of that saturation. And I think both you and I faced it at some points in our lives. Okay, there was something we wanted to do, but there's already someone doing it, and then they're not going to leave that space. uh, then what do we do? And I think Pakistan में आजकल भी यही हालात है. ऑलमोस्ट हर फील्ड में सैचुरेशन है.
और ये भी है कि जो ऊपर के लोग होते हैं वो आपको सिखाते भी नहीं है और वो जगह भी नहीं छोड़ते, तो वो स्पेस क्रिएट नहीं होती है कि यार बंदा कुछ कर भी सके. बट दैट्स अ टॉपिक फॉर अनदर डे. आई ऑल्सो हर्ड यू सेइंग कि यार लक भी मैटर करती है, एंड आई वांटेड टू आस्क हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इट इज टू हैव फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली in the country that you are moving to.
Well, it's very important. I would say, friends, at least friends होने चाहिए. It's a new country you're coming to, a completely new place. मेरे साथ के काफी लोग मेरे साथ masters में आए थे who were all by themselves, but they started making friends. And they all believe that once you start making friends, once you start knowing the local people here, life becomes very easy. But आप नए नए आए, ठीक है, मेरा भाई यहाँ पे था, उसकी पूरी फैमिली यहाँ पे थी, भाई भाभी बच्चे, बट स्टिल दोस्त नहीं थे कोई मेरे यहाँ पे. I can't complain. Alhamdulillah, family was there, but दोस्त नहीं थे, so it was a bit of a struggle in the beginning. So I can only imagine कि जिनकी family भी नहीं है, friends भी नहीं है, they come to a new land, they're aliens in this new land. How would what's going on in their mind? आप एक नया subject masters करने आए हैं, sure your focus is on education, but at the same time your mental health is very important.
अच्छा, मैं जब पहली दफ़ा जर्मनी आ रहा था,
Hmm.
ऑफ कोर्स पहली दफ़ा ही आ रहा था, तो जब ऐसा इनवाइट दैट वाज गिवन टू मी कि यार वहाँ जाके ना सिर्फ पाकिस्तानी दोस्त ना बनाना,
Hmm.
you should also socialize with other people, network broker. How important is that advice? Do you think that that advice stands?
100%. I mean, yeah. देखिए, एक कम्युनिटी, एक हम पाकिस्तानी एक कम्युनिटी से बिलोंग करते हैं. वी आर ऑल पाकिस्तानी सिख हैं. It's important to stay integrated in that community. Yes, it's important to know your roots. तो पाकिस्तानी दोस्त तो आपके खुद ब खुद बन जाएंगे. उसमें
Hmm.
ये वो आपको मेहनत भी नहीं करनी पड़ेगी. आप किसी शॉप में जाएंगे, आपको कोई बंदा उर्दू बोलते हुए सुनाई देगा, आप उससे सलाम दुआ करें, आपकी दोस्ती हो जाएगी. क्योंकि हम पाकिस्तानी हैं, दूसरे मुल्क में बैठे होंगे, जब एक दूसरे से बात करेंगे, अपनी जुबान में बात करेंगे, तो वो कनेक्शन ऑटोमेटिकली बन जाएगा.
So
बट
basically, don't waste your energy in networking where the networking is just natural. Try to put that effort elsewhere where you can actually gain and learn more.
एग्जैक्टली. अब मैं जब शुरू में आया ना शादी, आई डिड फील लाइक आई एम अ गेस्ट हियर बिकॉज आई वाज जस्ट इन द यूके फॉर माय मास्टर्स. तो आगे का प्लान मुझे नहीं पता था. तो एट दैट पॉइंट आई वाज लाइक, ओके, आई एम हियर फॉर माय मास्टर्स. यूके का मास्टर्स बाय द वे इट्स 1 year. दैट ओके, आई एम हियर फॉर a year and a half, and then I'm going back. Let's behave like guests. And as a good guest, I started just जो भी यहाँ लोकल बंदा मिलता था उससे मैं अच्छी तरह बात करूँ, अच्छी तरह सब कुछ, trying to put an impression. Pakistan, I'm from Pakistan, and I'm, a learned Pakistani, and certainly know how to behave in a cultured society, and blah blah blah. Um, it
अच्छा,
is it is really important to socialize, to interact with the locals, because इस तरह देखें ना, आपके घर कोई मेहमान आता है या आपके घर कोई चले कोई दोस्त यार भी आता है, तो आप चाहेंगे कि आप साथ वो सही बिहेव करें, ना कि आपकी चीजें आके तोड़े और आपकी चीजें खराब करके चला जाए.
That's interesting when you said कि यार मैं तो एक साल के लिए आया था, and the same thought I had is like masters go and go back, and now
Okay.
it's been 8 years since I've been here in Germany. What made you stay there?
Um, so masters खत्म किया मैंने. I was looking for jobs. I was like, okay, while I'm here, let's get some experience, get some more exposure of the industry, and then go back to Pakistan. But my masters did not give me a post-study visa. So I
Hmm.
only had 4 months, 5 months to find a job or find something next to do in the UK if I want to stay in the UK.
Hmm.
उस point पे Pakistan में there was still a lot of saturation. I had, part of me wanted to go back to Pakistan, to go back to my family, do something for the country. But at the same time, the part of me was like, I've just done a master's. I don't have a good exposure. All the only jobs I've done are odd jobs. Working for a catering company, working for a petrol station, working for a GP surgery. I really need some industry exposure. I want to expose myself to the telecoms industry in the UK. So when I go back to Pakistan, I take a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience with me. So that was the pursuit of getting into something to get some exposure.
अच्छा,
Uh,
does that policy still stand के masters करने के बाद you have to either do a PhD or you have to go back?
no, you don't have to do a PhD. There was a period, in between for 3-4 years जहाँ पे post study visa उन्होंने खत्म कर दिया था. But now it has resumed. After masters, you get 1 year of post study visa. After a PhD, you get 2 years of post study visa. So in that 1 year or in that 2 years, you can do a proper job hunt and then decide if you want to go and do a PhD, you want to do another master's, or if you want to find, if you get a job, then do the job.
Just since you're talking about post-study visa, can you let us know what kind of visas you actually have in UK, हर stage में, and maybe also let us know how long you have been in UK and हर different stage पे किस किस्म के visas आपको required थे?
ओके, सो मुझे यूके में 10 साल हो गए हैं. 2014 जनवरी में आया था. अब मे बी थ्री मोर मंथ्स एंड आई विल बी इन 10 years, डेकेड इन द यूके. टर्म्स ऑफ वीजाज, टीयर्स हैं यहाँ पे. जो स्ट्रक्चर्स हैं ना, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and then the tier 5. Tier 5 is if you're coming over to UK for something less than 6 months or less than 6 months.
Okay.
So आपके कोर्सेज हो जाते हैं, कोई शॉर्ट कोर्सेज के लिए कोई आ रहे हैं, तो आपको you come on a tier 5 visa. Tier 4 is a student visa. So
Okay.
bachelor's, master's, or even before bachelor's, if you're coming here for a diploma or a certificate, then if you're coming here for an undergraduate course or a postgraduate course or a PhD, that's all tier 4. Tier 3 is there's no such thing as tier 3, but there's equivalent thing called skilled visa.
Okay.
Skilled migrant visa, something like, yeah, skilled migrant visa. That's basically UK every year or every second year it publishes a list of skilled labor that they're short of. So shortage होती है काफी हर मुल्क में. तो वो
ठीक है.
एक लिस्ट निकालते हैं. उस लिस्ट में अगर आप हैं and then you apply for that visa, they might give you that visa, then you come over and do that skilled job. The skilled job is like, welder हो गया, कोई specialized skilled job होती हैं उनकी, जो you can have a look at that list. फिर आ जाता है.
Sorry to stop you there, but that's very interesting. अगर पाकिस्तान में कोई ऐसा बंदा है जिसने भी एजुकेशन लेवल उतना नहीं किया and he or she is not able to go to that level, what kind of a skill they can still have and then come to UK?
So I'm just opening it right now. Basically, skilled worker visa depends. The eligibility depends on your job. You must have a confirmed job offer before you apply for this visa.
Okay.
So basically, you look up what kind of job it is, and that also has some minimum requirements. के साल की कितनी सैलरी होनी चाहिए, per hour कितनी सैलरी होनी चाहिए, और जॉब में क्या क्या Let me just go through this quickly.
Maybe you can also send me the link later on. मैं description के
Yeah.
अंदर डाल दूंगा फिर.
बिल्कुल नहीं, मैं भेज दूंगा. बहुत वर्क इन द वीजा, वर्क इन द यूके पे बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. फिर आ जाता है टियर टू वीजा. तो दिस इज द वीजा दैट आई गॉट, एंड दिस इज प्रॉपर, दिस इज अ वर्क परमिट बेसिकली, टियर 2. उसमें ये कि कोई एम्प्लॉयर आपको स्पॉन्सर करता है. इट्स काइंड ऑफ सिमिलर टू माय स्किल्ड माइग्रेंट वर्कर, बट इट्स बाय अ बिग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन यूजुअली.
Okay.
ठीक है. Sometimes tier 2 and skilled migrant worker, they're interchangeable because इसकी requirements कुछ और हैं, इसकी requirements कुछ और हैं tier 2 की. Only certified employers can sponsor for tier 2, and for migrant can be anyone. It can be a pizza shop as well, can be a very small business that wants some more labor. Tier 2 is a work visa where you can bring your family, you can bring your dependents. और फिर tier 1 आ जाता है. tier 1 के अंदर it's either you're an entrepreneur,
Okay.
you have to bring a certain amount of investment in the UK. वही सारी इनकी वेबसाइट पे डिटेल्स दी हुई हैं. या फिर there's global talent visa. So global talent is basically it has something similar to highly skilled migrant, जो पहले 2010s में, 2000 and early 2010s 2000s में यूके करता था. HSMP कहलाता था ये वीजा. तो इसको रिप्लेस किया उन्होंने अब ग्लोबल टैलेंट वीजा, GTV कहलाता है इसमें. व्हाट यू हैव टू प्रूव इन दिस इज दैट यू आर अ promising leader or
Okay.
leader in your field of work. So I, alhamdulillah, I was lucky and did some hard work to get this tier 1 visa. So I spent 2 years on tier 2 after my PhD, and then I moved over to this global talent visa. I spent 1 year on global talent, and with global talent, as if you have to spend 3 years of global talent visa to get your settlement.
Okay.
So these 3 years can also be the time you've spent on tier 2, as long as it was the same work that you were doing.
And by settlement, you mean being a British national?
No, by settlement it means you get an indefinite leave to remain. It's kind of like PR, but kind of like green card, but not the passport, not the British passport.
Okay, understood. Acha, how long does it take to be a British national? You've been there for almost 10 years. What is your say on that?
So there are two routes to be a British citizen, to get the British passport. One is 5 year and the other one is 10 years. I'm on the 10-year one, but my wife is on the 5-year one. Right. So two routes, 5 year or 10 years. 5 year is if you enter the UK on work visa or dependent of work visa. So 5 years you spend in the UK on the visa, and then after 5 years you can apply for settlement. And as soon as you get settlement, you need to spend 12 months in the UK to be able to apply for citizenship.
Okay. तो यानी जब आपके 10 साल पूरे हो जाएंगे, you will be able to apply for it.
For me it's 10 years because जब मैं यूके आया तो मैंने पहले 5 साल स्टूडेंट वीजा पे गुजारे हैं. तो स्टूडेंट रूट is 10 years.
But that's just 3 months ago. It's months away, right?
Basically, yes.
Okay. And एक बार apply करने के बाद कितना time लगता है, the whole process?
So are you talking about applying for settlement or are you talking about applying for passport?
दोनों का बता दें.
So settlement पे भी different है. Priority पे जाना है तो I went for priority. मेरा एक दिन में ही आ गई थी PR-ship. If you go for regular, it takes up to 6 weeks. They say 6 weeks, but you get your decision in 2 to 3 weeks. उसके लिए you have to sit a test as well. A test is called Life in the UK. UK की ना historical, cultural चीजों के ऊपर test है. MCQs होते हैं 50 questions and straightforward. And that's basically you'll be able to pass it very easily if you have integrated with the local society, if you know what their values are and what their morals are. So I got my settlement in January this year, and next year in January, inshallah, it'll be 12 months, so I'll be able to apply for my passport. But my wife will still need to spend 3 more years because we got married about 2.5 years ago in 2021. So she needs to stay on that visa until 2026 to get her settlement. But for her, as soon as she gets the settlement, she can apply for the passport.
Okay.
So it's a bit complicated है, हर केस का different, almost हर केस के लिए एक different उन्होंने solution निकाला हुआ है. अब I had settlement when my daughter was born, so she's got British passport right
Okay.
away. So,
तो फैमिली में सबसे पहले डॉटर को मिल गया.
बिल्कुल.
तो बेसिकली इस पार्टनर पे डिपेंड नहीं करता कि मतलब कि फॉर एग्जांपल अगर कोई यूके नेशनल से शादी कर भी रहा है तो उसको नेशनलिटी नहीं मिलेगी. दे स्टिल हैव टू स्टे देयर फॉर 5 years.
Absolutely.
Okay, nice. And since you
Prove your
already
loyalty to the British Empire.
ऑफ कोर्स हम पाकिस्तान में दो नंबरियां भी बहुत करते हैं ना, तो आई थिंक दैट नाइस.
क्योंकि एक दो नंबरियों से मुझे याद है साथ ही द रीजन HSMP was stopped was कि पाकिस्तानी आ रहे थे यूके इन्फ्लक्स के साथ आके अपने HSMP was based on a personal statement कि आप अपनी पर्सनल स्टेटमेंट में कहानियां लिख रहे हैं कि मैं ये करूंगा यूके आके. पर वो यूके थे एंड दे वुड डू दीज ले जॉब्स लाइक सिक्योरिटी में काम करते रहेंगे. तो दिस वाज वन ऑफ द रीजंस HSMP को उन्होंने खत्म किया और फिर जब 10 साल बाद ये ग्लोबल टैलेंट वाला शुरू किया. इट्स क्वाइट रिगरस. आपकी पूरी एप्लीकेशन इट गोज थ्रू अ वेरी रिगरस रिव्यू प्रोसेस बाय सम रॉयल एकेडमी. हर फील्ड की अपनी एक इंस्टीट्यूट है जो आपकी एप्लीकेशन को रिव्यू करता है.
ठीक है. एंड इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग इज कि इन कंट्री को एक्चुअली हमारी ज़रूरत भी है. आई एम नॉट श्योर अबाउट यूके, लेकिन जर्मनी में तो यंग population की इतनी कमी है कि they really want people to come in, but of course they have to put in filters कि यार we need people who can integrate better and bring good in this society as well. Since you already mentioned about your wife, and I know you were already in UK when you got married, so how was that process to get a spouse visa? And you also had your kid there, so what was also the process around registering your kid there, and what are the formalities that you have to go through?
If I go by timeline, so 2019 I finished my PhD. I'm still on tier 4 visa. 2019, 6 months after my PhD, I get a postdoc position at University of Glasgow, and that postdoc position is funded by the Scottish government. So the university is able to sponsor me. So I moved to tier 2 by the end of 2019. Okay. So 2019, let's say December, I'm on tier 2, and goes to January 2020. Sorry, December 2020, and then March of 2021, I get married in Pakistan. So उस time पे I'm still on tier 2 visa. So it was very straightforward, very easy. All I had to do was prove that I actually got married to this lovely lady, lovely girl. So उस proof में ना यार मैंने शादी की तस्वीरें डालनी थी. उस proof में आपकी भी तस्वीर है शादी की तस्वीरों में, by the way.
Nice.
मैंने शादी का कार्ड दिखाना था, अपना निकाहनामा जो था नादरा से बनता है, फैमिली रजिस्ट्रेशन FRC, फैमिली रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट. बेसिकली निकाहनामा आपका वो 5 बड़े बड़े पेजेस उर्दू वाले हैं, बट देन व्हेन यू सबमिट दैट टू नादरा दे गिव यू एन इंग्लिश वर्जन ऑफ दैट. सो ये चीजें सारी वीजा एप्लीकेशन में साथ लगाई, सबमिट कराई. आई थिंक विद इन 3 weeks शी गॉट हर वीजा एंड देन वी वर एबल टू कम टू द यूके.
And within the 3 weeks वीजा का प्रोसेस पूरा हो गया. That's very nice.
3 weeks भी नहीं, this would have gotten done in 2 weeks. बीच में ईद का एक हफ्ता ईद का आ गया था पाकिस्तान में. अनलकी यहाँ पे हम ये थे कि उन दिनों पाकिस्तान रेड लिस्ट में था. तो when we got to UK, I couldn't spend any more time in Pakistan because work was asking me to come back. When we got to UK, we had to spend 12 days in the hotel. And moving forward, fast forward to 2022. And 2022, I get my tier 1 visa, that's global talent visa. My wife is still on the dependent visa for tier 2. Doesn't matter as long as she's my dependent. Doesn't matter if I'm on tier 1 or tier 2. 2023 January, I get my ILR, my indefinite leave to remain settlement. My wife is still a dependent now on tier 1 visa because her visa was expiring last year, so we had to renew it. So when she renewed it, it's still on her visa, it still says just dependent, doesn't mention tier 1, tier 2. Now her visa is expiring in December. We'll still again apply for an extension, and this time we'll apply for 3 years to, ताकि वही 5 साल की विंडो पूरी हो जाए, दोबारा ना वीजा अप्लाई करना पड़े. Inshallah, next would be applying for her settlement.
Achha, I also remember you told कि यार Bhabhi cannot practice her medicine side आपको डेंटिस्ट हो या कोई डॉक्टर हो, तो व्हाट्स द प्रोसेस फॉर देम? कोई अगर पाकिस्तान से डेंटिस्ट बन रहा है या डॉक्टर, एंड इफ दे आर वाचिंग, इफ यू लाइक टू नो कि यार यूके में आके वो कैसे जॉब कर सकते हैं।
हर हर प्रोफेशंस हैं, जैसे डॉक्टर, डेंटिस्ट के, मेडिकल प्रोफेशंस के ना, उन्होंने यहाँ पे एग्जाम्स रखे हुए हैं, and those exams are to make sure that the quality doesn't go down. तो डॉक्टर्स
हम्म।
के लिए फ्लैप होता है। फ्लैप से पहले एक ओईटी इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज का कोर्स होता है। वो इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज का कोर्स करने, फिर फ्लैप का पार्ट 1 है, पार्ट 2 है। उसी तरह डेंटिस्ट है, मेरी वाइफ जिस तरह डेंटिस्ट है, उनके लिए भी उन्होंने आइल्स देना था, फिर
हम्म।
ओ आर पार्ट 1 देना है, फिर ओ आर पार्ट 2 देना है। पार्ट 1 इज यूजली theoretical and part 2 is practical.
ओके।
But now imagine everyone from the world is applying for to be a dentist or a doctor in the UK because of good
हम्म।
money. They
हम्म।
get a big influx of applications. तो वो लिटरली मेरी वाइफ है, उनका एग्जाम की डेट 3 हफ्ते पहले वो रजिस्ट्रेशन खोलते हैं, एंड विद इन फर्स्ट 20-30 seconds ऑल सीट्स आर बुक्ड।
हम्म। ये तो पाकिस्तान इंडिया के मैच से टिकट्स भी ज़्यादा मुश्किल है टू गेट अ सीट देयर।
एग्जैक्टली।
अच्छा अंसारी, for somebody who wants to come to Germany in, or no, in UK right now, what would be the advice that you would like to give to that person?
Uh, so life in the UK is not as as we're imagining in Pakistan. One first things first, my wife came in, and it is not even a single day that she complains. Not even a single day when she's not missing Pakistan. हम दूर के ढोल हमेशा सुहाने होते हैं। फैमिली नहीं है आपकी, ठीक है, तो यू डोंट हैव दैट फैमिली कंफर्ट। उस फैमिली कंफर्ट में ना, वी टेक इट फॉर ग्रांटेड इन पाकिस्तान। खाना मिल जाता है, बना बना गरम गरम खाना आपको बैठे बैठे। बाथरूम्स आपके साफ हो जाते हैं फॉर द पीपल हु हैव मेड्स एंड गुड मदर्स हु हेल्प यू क्लीन योर रूम्स एंड योर टॉयलेट्स। कपड़े आपको धुले मिल जाते हैं। मैं मी एंड यू शादी बोथ वी आर आर्मी ब्रैट्स। हमारे फादर्स के पास वो धोबी की भी सहूलत थी, तो
Hmm.
कपड़े आपको इस्त्री मिल जाते हैं। गाड़ी आपकी खुद साफ हो जाती है, ड्राइवर कर देता है, या चले ड्राइवर नहीं भी है तो आप जाते हैं सर्विस स्टेशन पे लगाते हैं, बंदे साफ कर देते हैं। ये वाली सहूलतें नहीं है यूके में। कपड़े खुद धोने हैं, बर्तन खुद धोने हैं, खाना खुद बनाना है। चलें ठीक है, खाना आप ले आए टेक अवे से, कब तक खाओगे यार पोर्सलीन वाले? कब तक खाओगे
Hmm.
उस डिस्पोजेबल चीज? कब तक खाओगे उस ग्रीस में बने हुए खाने? हलाल चीजें मिल जाती हैं यूके से बड़े आराम से, हर जगह से मिल जाती हैं। इवन बड़े बड़े रेस्टोरेंट्स ने they've started serving halal food, which is
Hmm.
very good. बट अगेन ये कब तक, कितना बंदा कर लेगा? 10 साल हो गए हैं यार ये शादी। दिल चाहता है बड़ा पाकिस्तान जाने का, बल्कि मेरा भाई, जो बड़ा भाई था, ही मूव बैक टू पाकिस्तान इन
Yeah.
2018 आफ्टर स्पेंडिंग अबाउट 15 years इन यूके। और
Hmm.
वही मेरे भी इंशाल्लाह इस माइंड सेट से हम यूके आए थे कि यहाँ आएंगे, सीखेंगे चीजें इनसे, और फिर यही इस विजडम को, इस नॉलेज को पाकिस्तान लेकर जाएंगे एंड ट्राई एंड डू समथिंग फॉर आवर ओन कंट्री।
Yeah, that's a very good point because I remember early on, जो पहले एक दो साल थे, literally I used to dream going back to Pakistan. I know it sounds weird, but it's a different feeling that only those who come abroad can understand. But I can also not complain a lot because right now scene ये है कि पाकिस्तान में हालात ठीक नहीं है. It's a fact, right? Securities के issue हैं, we have inflation, like a higher middle class and higher class में है, so that is totally fine. But everybody else, if they come abroad, the opportunities that they get for the hard work they're doing in Pakistan will be much, much more, right? So I think at some end, I do encourage people to still come abroad, learn here, earn here, develop something, build something, and then go back and serve your country. So I think we both are in a journey to do that very soon.
इंशाल्लाह।
So also maybe a bit of advice for people who want to come for PhD, right? And specifically, we can start off by UK में PhD का क्या scene है, and anybody else who is just doing PhD anywhere in the world. But what would be your advice since you're a doctor yourself?
So PhD, it is doctorate in philosophy. So you need to think, okay, do you have that mindset of working day and night, and then you know,
Hmm.
PhD ऐसी जर्नी है जिसमें there is a lot of failure, there is a lot of sad days, स्पेशली इन यूके, क्योंकि यहाँ का मौसम भी ऐसा है कि हर वक्त बारिश हो रही होती है, हर वक्त कुछ ना कुछ हो रहा होता है। आई थिंक इस वीडियो में 10 दफा धूप निकली है, गई है, बारिश भी हुई है बीच में।
Yeah.
इस मौसम में फिर फैमिली से भी दूर हैं. Can you really persevere? If you think you can persevere, and by persevering I mean, let's say मैं इंजीनियर हूँ, तो मैं इंजीनियरिंग की बात करता हूँ. आपने कोई थ्योरी डिवाइस की, आपने उसको एक्सपेरिमेंट्स के लिए लगाया, और पूरा एक हफ्ता लगा दिया उस एक्सपेरिमेंट को सिर्फ सेटअप करते हुए, और हफ्ते बाद आप उस लेट्स से कोई सिमुलेशन है, कोई एक्सपेरिमेंट आप खुद छोड़ के गए हैं, अगले दिन वापस आएंगे तो योर थ्योरी हैज फेल्ड, योर was a big failure, you wasted 2 weeks of your time. तो वो एक disappointment है, but if you can persevere, if you can rise above it, and you can get put your head down and do it again, this time the right way, so I think yes, you should do a PhD, because PhD is creating new knowledge for the world. um, अब बात करेंगे, थोड़ी सी philosophical होगी बात थोड़ी सी, लेकिन अगर practically देखें तो there are 2-3 types of PhDs that you can pursue. Usually प्रोफेसर जो होते हैं वो एक तो खुद भी प्रपोज करते हैं टॉपिक्स. आप इफ यू गो टू यूनिवर्सिटीज वेबसाइट, ओपन देयर स्टाफ कैटलॉग, और उसके अंदर किसी स्टाफ मेंबर को खोलें जिससे रिसर्च इंटरेस्ट जिससे आपके मैच होते हैं, तो यू कैन लुक अप कि उनके क्या रिसर्च इंटरेस्ट हैं, वो किस तरह के प्रोजेक्ट्स पे उन्होंने पहले काम किया है, किस तरह के प्रोजेक्ट्स पे वो काम करना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि सारी बायो इंटरेस्ट लिखा हुआ होता है उनके प्रोफाइल पे. And then you try and propose something that's close to their line of work. तो कुछ होती हैं फंडेड पीएचडीज होती हैं, कुछ नॉन फंडेड पीएचडीज होती हैं. आई वाज लकी कि आई गॉट द फंडेड पीएचडी. फंडेड पीएचडी में दे पे योर ट्यूशन फीस and they give you a stipend every month, and that
Okay.
stipend is good enough for you to sustain your life here in the UK. uh, कुछ यूनिवर्सिटीज में होता है कि वो they've got funding, but their funding is for local students, not for international students like us. तो उसमें what they do is they try and pay your fees from your stipend. तो आपकी stipend आधी हो जाती है, कभी कभार आधी से भी कम हो जाती है. But while you're in a university, you get these opportunities to work in the lab as research assistants or as teaching assistants. तो वो per hour कमा के अच्छा गुजारा हो जाता है. There are, to give you some examples, there are some couple of my PhD students who sometimes make more money than I do, way more money than I do, because they're not paying tax. All the money they're making is just for their party.
Since you mentioned tax, I know कि बहुत से foreign countries में tax बहुत ज़्यादा करता है, but they do provide quite a lot of good facilities as well. How do you see, maybe we are kind of diverting a bit the topic, but how do you see the tax implementation in Pakistan and how people receive it कि यार tax इतना क्यों बढ़ रहा है?
I can't really say much on tax. I personally, that's कभी कभार होता है कि यार on books my pay is X amount, but actually it's X minus quite a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time we get free healthcare. My daughter was born in a state of facility. Everything was top notch. Doctors and nurses were amazing. They were very helpful. They were very. Sadi, you're frozen. Can
Yeah,
you
I
still
can
hear
hear
me?
you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I was talking about the hospitals, the healthcare that we receive. Was in कुछ दिन पहले, 2-3 हफ्ते पहले मुझे कुछ थोड़ा सा इशू हुआ, तो I booked a blood test, और बड़ा अच्छा घर के साथ जाके blood test. ये सारी चीजें ना, all of that is included in the national insurance that we pay, in tax that we pay. सड़कें अच्छी हैं, infrastructure अच्छा है, quality of life is, no doubt, quality of life is good, really good.
Yeah.
Now
Hoping to see
translating
that
that
in
in
Pakistan
Pakistan,
as well.
ट्रांसलेटिंग दैट इन पाकिस्तान, या बस अब यही है कि दुआ ही कर सकते हैं अपने भाइयों के लिए, अपने बहनों के लिए पाकिस्तान में, कि जितना टैक्स ले रहे हैं ये लोग, अगर वो इम्प्लीमेंट भी करें तो टाइम लगेगा काफी. सारी माइंड सेट चेंज होना है लोगों का, बहुत कुछ होना है पाकिस्तान में भी.
Okay, maybe on the closing note, अगर कोई PhD करना चाह रहा है अभी, what's the process they can actually follow to find PhD opportunities in UK?
तो एक वेबसाइट है, findAPhD.co.uk. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
Find, I hope ये तुम वो कर सकते हो कि ये लिंक है,
Yeah, I
findAPhD.co.
will put the link somewhere here or here.
ओके. सो एक ये वेबसाइट है, इस पे जाके ना यू कैन लुक, काफ़ी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ ने डाला हुआ होता है अपने जो फंडेड पीएचडी प्रोग्राम्स हैं, उसके अलावा you can approach a lecturer or a professor directly, drop them an email, but keep that email short. Professors के पास time नहीं होता. They will never read a long email. Just keep it short. Attach your CV, attach what you've done before, attach your motivation, and that's it.
Okay.
एक paragraph भी नहीं, आधा paragraph, 3-4 lines. That's more than enough for a professor to catch a professor's attention. And then you'll need to start talking to that professor. Email exchanges में कि ये तुम्हारे इंटरेस्ट हैं रिसर्च में, एंड ये मैं करना चाहता हूँ, क्या करना चाहती हूँ. To engage, you really need to engage with that professor. और हो सकता है उस प्रोफेसर के पास फंडिंग हो, that he can offer you that funding, or you secure an admission. Professor क्या okay, I'm happy to be your potential supervisor. So you secure admission in a big, in a good big university like University of Glasgow or University of Cambridge. And with that admission letter, you can go to, go knock at other funding doors. HEC पे जा के कह सकते हैं कि I have secured an admission. I would like some funding. उसके अलावा शेवनिंग scholarships हैं, कॉमनवेल्थ scholarships हैं, बहुत सारी आपको ना, you just Google scholarships for PhDs. Application process लंबा होता है, but again it's a test of your perseverance. If you can persevere through this, you can persevere
True.
through everything.
Yeah, I think anywhere abroad it takes a lot of time. You have to be very persistent. आप जमे रहें तो आप जो है किसी न किसी जगह तक पहुंच सकते हैं. We will also have a podcast with one of our friends who actually went through the HEC funding itself, so we will ask more questions around that. And also for the audience, if you want to have more questions around how to come to UK and any doubts that you have, please let us know in the comment. And even if you like to have live session of this nature, let us know if we can have another call with Mr. Ansari to answer some of your live questions.
एक
With
चीज
that,
होती है कि जो मेरे पुराने
yeah.
दोस्त हैं ना, पुराने दोस्त हैं जो मुझे शुरू से जानते हैं, वो मुझे हमेशा मिस्टर ही कहते हैं.
अच्छा चलिए फिर मिस्टर अंसारी.
नहीं नहीं सर, डॉक्टर कहते हैं प्लीज.
Mr. Dr. Ansari, thank you so much for your time. I think you're lucky to have a bit of sun there today, so enjoy it. Um, at the end, I want to set this theme of my podcast. I would like to ask, how do you feel right now? And you can use any medium of expression to let us know what your feelings are about this podcast, or maybe about Pakistan and your future.
यूके आके एक चीज तो सीखी है कि कीप योर माइंड ओपन, कीप योर माइंड ब्रॉड. आपको मेरी बेटी की आवाजें आ रही होंगी पीछे. खैर, कीप एन ओपन माइंड. जो सिचुएशन है पाकिस्तान की, that's not the end of it. Inshallah, we are persevering. We are a very hardworking nation, and we come out of very very bad situations. बहुत दफा हमने की है इस तरह. तो इंशाल्लाह आगे भी we should learn from our mistakes, and we should keep an open mind of what we can achieve. ख्वाब देखकर ही ख्वाब पूरे होते हैं.
I mean, that's a very nice message. Pakistan खुद एक ख्वाब था, so it became a reality, and I don't think we have ever escaped कि पाकिस्तान में कोई issue नहीं है. So that is there to stay, and we have been surviving so far, and inshallah we will improve.
We will inshallah
So
rise above it, and we will inshallah be the best.
absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. With that, I would sign off, and thank you everybody for watching. And please like, subscribe, and share with other people who can also take advantage from this call. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hafiz.